Greetings, music lovers. I'm Roger Bowie for music.net, and today I'm rapping with Arun O'Connor. I wrote to Arun, I sent him an email to say, or I sent him a text to say I need an email address so I could invite him to the Zoom meeting, and he replied, good as gold. Good as gold. Just to confirm what I already know, that he's from the Deep South, because that's where I come from. Everything is as good as gold in the Deep South. So, g'day, Aaron. How are you, mate?
Very well, thanks, yourself.
Are you good as gold?
I am, always.
Good.
I even have a shirt. I'm actually not wearing it at the moment, but I do have a shirt that says good as gold on it, and I have to kind of remember not to say it lots when I'm wearing it, just because it feels like, I'm saying it because I'm wearing the shirt, but it is literally something I say all the time. So,
It's very, very much a Southland saying, that one. I grew up.
Yeah.
2018 Gold Guitar winner, 2020 Southland Entertainer of the Year. You made your name by playing other people's songs, and then you had to write some of your own. How did that feel? How did that work out?
Yeah, that was kind of a little bit of a challenge. I think it was easier now because I'm older. I tried to write when I was 15, 16. I didn't really have anything to write about, so it was a lot harder, and all the songs were quite dark, and they probably weren't the same style as well. But given the chance to record in Nashville, and knowing that I only had X amount of time to write a song to then fly over to Nashville and record it, kind of gave me that kind of kick I needed to really sit down and go, right, I need to start writing songs. And after writing that first one, kind of got the bug. I just wanted to write more and more and more.
So the floodgates opened, yeah?
Yeah, pretty much.
So now you've got what, 2 or 3 albums worth of material?
I wouldn't say quite that much yet. So when I wrote songs for the album, I think I wrote about 16 songs, and we narrowed it down to sort of 10 or 11 songs and a reprise.
Yeah.
So there's still some songs there, some ones that I really want to record as well. And I've been sort of writing again recently. I sort of didn't really write in that whole time of recording because I guess I was focused on the album so much that I just didn't do it, whereas now that it's kind of done and the album's out, I feel like I can actually dedicate more time to writing new music.
Oh, well, and are you playing some of that new stuff when you go live?
Yeah. So when I play in the weekends, I always throw my own songs in there, and I'm going on tour next month, doing the South Island tour first, and that's all original music. And I'm bringing Jaden Shingleton along with me.
I saw that.
Yeah, he won Gold Guitars the year after me, for those who don't know. And he's won just about every other award that New Zealand country music has. He's very, very good. So he'll be doing his own music too, and we'll just be doing the tour together, just acoustically. Yeah.
I was going to ask you that. You've answered that question already. So just last month, your debut album came out, Songs from the Reading Room, right?
Yes. Well, in April, end of April.
End of April.
Yeah.
Wow, where have we been? And produced by Jay Took in Nashville, and he's got a bit of a name for himself already.
Yeah, and he's getting more and more opportunities now. Like, he's been working down at in Alabama at Fame Studios.
I've been there.
Yeah, which I've heard, a lot of the music that's come out of there, and it's
of course you have.
Yeah, it's some of the biggest names we've ever had, and he's now getting a chance to work there and work with some of these big people, and it sort of seems just up and up for Jay. It's just every opportunity that comes his way is getting sort of bigger and better.
Does he still play in a band himself?
He's got sort of side projects going on. I don't think it's anything full time like it was with his last band, because they were, they toured Europe, they toured the States.
Yeah.
They were pretty full on. There wasn't much sort of downtime, whereas now he's, I think, focusing a lot more on the recording and then just doing some side project stuff. Like, I saw he was out the other night in Nashville playing at a place called The Basement.
I know The Basement.
Yeah, I was going to say, you've probably been there. and yeah, that looked really good. That's original stuff as well. So he's getting back into it.
Pretty cool. What did you learn from Jay?
I'm always learning from Jay, to be fair. Because when we sort of mixed the album, we did that like this over a Zoom call, where he would share a screen with me and I would listen to the actual audio, and I would sort of learn a few tips and tricks. But it's hard to really say what I've learned. I've like to narrow it down because, like I said, I'm always learning stuff from him, whether it's about recording or all of that stuff. It's just
How to put a record
it's all
together.
above me. It's all well above me, but I look and I try and take in everything I can.
So he's your number one mentor.
When it comes to recording stuff, yeah, and like getting sounds, and he's very much like me when it comes to ideas. So if I have an idea for a song, when I write it, I always write normally on an acoustic. So when I send a demo to him, it's acoustic and vocals. But I'll say, oh, look, I really want it to have a drum feel like this song, or sound like Pink Floyd, or sound like the Beatles or the Eagles or whatever. And he'll go, yeah, I know exactly what you mean. And when he goes to record it, that's what comes out. And if there's something that I think he's missing, and I say, oh, I'd love a keyboard part like this, he's like, yeah, that's coming next week. Like he's already got it planned, and
so what does he come? What does he do? Just call on that sort of endless pool of talented Nashville session musicians and bring them in? Is that what happens?
Yeah. So he's kind of got, I wouldn't say a short list, but kind of like the players that he obviously gets on with well, and that he knows they all play well together. For instance, with my album, Jay played drums on the whole thing.
Okay.
And another guy called Billy Justino, who he tours with, like the Brothers Osborne, Eric Church, and a lot of other big players. He played keys and all of the piano and synth and mellotron sort of parts on the whole thing as well. They were the two constants. And then over the 3 days that they sort of live tracked in Nashville, they would bring in a new guitarist and bass player every day. So there was 3 different bass players, 3 different guitarists. And then, I ended up playing some bits on guitar. Jay ended up playing some, and he had another guy come in who would play like a bit of slide and stuff like that. But it's basically the same kind of crew of people. And I see it now when I see him recording on a new project, it'll be a variation of that band that he'll bring in and take in. He'll sort of choose the ones that are more suited to each project. But
it's amazing. It's amazing pool of talent over there. I mean, they've just got all the licks. And they come, boom, boom.
And it's easy. Like, again, when we're on these Zoom calls, these people had heard my song or songs through once, and it was literally me playing and singing with an acoustic guitar to a click track so that they could hear the song, just to kind of hear what it would sound like. And then Jay wrote them a basic Nashville numbers chart, and pretty much just went 1, 2, 3, go. And then they went. A lot of it was perfect first time round. They might go, oh, can I just, run the bridge through or run down bars, whatever to whatever. I just missed something. And it was something that I didn't even hear, but they wanted to go back just to, double check or run over something again. But there wasn't much sort of messing around. The things that took the longest were probably just the setup times and putting microphones on things and getting sounds right. But as far as the actual recording time, like those guys just shot through it. Yeah, they're absolute weapons.
The wonders of modern day technology. So tell us about the songs. I mean, I know you've had some success with the single releases, but how's the album going? And pick out some songs for us and tell us how they came to be.
Okay, well, the album's going great. The singles, like you said, the singles are going really well. One of them's over 50,000 streams so far. Another one's about 30,000, and the next one's 20-something thousand. So they're doing all right that way. A lot of people are listening to them every day. They're still getting lots of plays, making playlists and stuff like that. But I think the real sort of Um, time will come when it's, when I go on tour and I can sell some more albums and get more people listening. And when we can finally get vinyls made as well, because there's been a huge, backlog and waiting time for that. But yeah, like I said, there's 12 songs on the album. One of them is a song I've already recorded before, Let Go of My Heart, which was my second single. But a lot of people asked if it was going to be on the album, and I never considered it.
Oh, that's a great song. I'm glad you put that on.
Yeah, well, a lot of people said, "Oh, why don't you put it on?" And I went, "Oh, okay, but if we do, we'll re-record it." And I mean, if you listen to them side by side, they're very similar, but you can tell they're different.
Yeah.
But it was just to get them in line with, the rest of the recordings. And there's one reprise, which I really wanted this album to feel kind of like it had a bit of a theme or some sort of idea, because I look at, albums like that the Eagles would put out, and they would always have a reprise of a song, whether it was like Desperado or Dool and Dalton or Wasted Time. They would always have a wee orchestral reprise, and I loved that. And I mean, you don't see a lot of that now. So the album starts and finishes with When the Darkness Comes Around, which is probably my favorite song on the album. And that was one of the first ones I wrote for the album as well. And I don't know, that one sort of just come out of nowhere. But it's, if you listen to the album as a whole, it can be quite dark. Not on purpose, I suppose. I just find that a lot of the dark or the sad songs are stuff that people can relate to more. And I've tried to sit down and write a happy song, and they all just come out sounding cheesy when I do it, so I can't do it. But When the Darkness Comes Around is kind of about watching someone, each verse, it sort of gets, that person is getting more and more worn down, and it's like when you're watching someone that's going through something, if it's either a mental illness or they're just in a dark time in their life, sometimes there's nothing you can do apart from sort of be there to support them. And it's hard, and you wish you could trade places with them, but sometimes you can only sit by and watch. And it's really hard. And I suppose it was to kind of address the problem as well. Like in New Zealand, most people know now that mental illness here is a huge thing. And it's not sort of talked about as much. Like people are trying to address it more, but it's sort of a big problem, especially it seems with like rural males.
Yes.
And so, yeah, I just kind of wanted to write a song about that, because at the time it was kind of quite relevant. And it did kind of sort of come out of nowhere, and it got a few different meanings along the way, but that was one of my favorite ones on there, because it had some meaning, but I also liked the sound of it. It reminded me of more like Beatles, and even my producer said it's kind of like the Beatles and Joe Walsh a wee bit, which I thought, well, I'll take that, because that's good. I like that. What's another song on there that to be fair, another one of my favorites, probably, it was first, second favorite, it's hard to tell sometimes, is Weight of the World.
Yes.
And I wrote that about my partner, Katie, because she sort of had some health issues over the years. And again, I've said it's nothing like, life threatening, but it's just enough to make everyday life harder. And it's that same situation of watching someone where, some days she's good as gold and other days she just feels helpless. And there's nothing I can really do. I can try my best and always be there and do everything I can, but some days you just can't do anything. And to me, it always seemed like, the weight of the world was on her shoulders, because, she was dealing with a lot with work. And then so you get stress on top of everything else. And it all just piles up and piles up. So
it's not an easy world that we live in.
No, if my songs reflect anything, it's probably that, isn't it? It's there's a lot of negative stuff, and the more that you look at things going around at the moment, it's you've only got to turn the news on just to go like, oh, it all seems like bad stuff, which is why I probably don't watch the news too much. But there's still a lot of good out there. It's just you got to look for it.
But on the other hand, when you're up there singing those songs, you're in your happy place.
Oh, 100%. I love it. And it's another one of those crazy things that I always wanted to do this. I always wanted to do my own songs. Um, and I don't know why I just never did it. You know, I was always the one that would say, I will do it, I will do it, I will do it. And then finally did it. And now that I have, you know, that's all I want to do. I want to be able to go and play shows um, where people are there for my music,
Yeah.
you know, because I play shows every week and they come along and they love it. And I'm playing some of the best songs ever written, but they're not my songs.
Not yours. Yeah.
They're all just some of the best covers of all time. And I know I play them well and people enjoy it and they get up and sing and they dance. But when you actually see people in a crowd that are singing back to your own music, you know, when it's not your friends and family, when it's some complete stranger, like I had that at Top Paddock Music Festival, I was playing one of my songs and there was someone in the crowd and they knew every single word. And I would always look back at them and I'd like, yep, they're still singing along. And I went, that's quite incredible to me because they don't know me, you know, because to me, I've no idea who they are and they've really got no idea who I am, but they know my music.
The thing is, once your music's out there, it belongs to everybody.
For sure. And I'm, you know, that's the best part about it, I suppose. It's accessible for everyone pretty much anywhere in the world. And I know it has reached sort of to different corners of the world. You know, I've had people message me. I remember when I released my first song, I had someone message me from the States saying, you know, I don't know how, but they heard my song on a playlist or something. And they, you know, searched for my name to see if they could find the rest of my music. And at the time, I only had one song on Spotify. And so they messaged me and they said, we're so gutted because I loved that song and I went to look for more and there's nothing. So I said, oh, don't worry, you know, I've got another single coming out. And now every time I've got new music out, you know, I let them know or they follow so they know when it's coming out. And it's just quite cool how you can build a connection like that or have someone completely unknown on the other side of the world find your music.
So this is a whole big step up for you career-wise, and yeah, as more and more people hear this album, I'm sure they're going to respond in the way that helps you self-actualize, because it's a pretty bloody good album, I must say. I've got to write up my review, but I'll say some nice things because I'm enjoying it.
Oh, thank you.
But the other stuff that you've been talking about makes me smile because you know, I'm involved with Tussock Country, and last year I was at the Top Paddock. I saw you up there with all the other artists, and you know, I was amazed at how rocky that whole concert was.
Yeah.
And I was also amazed that the kids down there are still getting off on the same songs that we were getting off to in the 70s, and Leonard Skinner, and you know, and the Eagles and Joe Walsh, yes. And so is there a time warp down there, or a Top Paddock fans just more enlightened?
Oh, no, there definitely is. Like, I mean, people my age, you know, I was probably a little different because I grew up with a musical family and I grew up around people older than me. So I've, of course, grew up with all that music and I listened to it and I went to the musicians club, you know, all the time and talked to the old guys about the good old days, you know, the Bob Daly's and all those people.
I know Bob.
Yeah. And so, you know, we learned about that music from a very young age. And a few of my friends have it, but it's strange. I thought that, you know, if you go into town now, which I mean, I never do unless I'm playing, but if you actually go to, say, a club or something, it's all new modern music and the young people go mental for it. But on the other hand, like, I played a friend's 21st and I was nervous because I'm going, the music I'm playing is not really for 21-year-olds, you know, it's Eagles, it's Little River Band, Fleetwood Mac, Billy Joel, Elton John, all that stuff. And her friends, like, they went crazy for it. And as soon as I finished, like last song finished, they put on all of this sort of dubstep club type music and they went mental for that too. And I'm going, it's amazing that they can love both, because even as a musician, like, I'm still quite biased and I like the music I like, you know, I love the old stuff. It'll always be my favorite. So I just don't have as broad a range of music that I like that some of these kids now do. Like, even one of my partner's good workmates, he's 21. And when we've been out at work dues and things with him, he'll be singing along to every old song like Rolling Stones and that. He knows every word, and he's the one getting more into it than all the adults. And you're going, this is crazy. I don't know if that is just a down here thing, but I think
I've got my 13-year-old daughter is she knows all the words to all the pop songs.
Yeah.
But then she'll come out and start singing the Turtles. Dad, do you know this song? Or I'll play the Rolling Stones. Dad, that song's on TikTok.
Yeah, well, to be fair,
they're getting exposed to so much. But then the other side of it, I was talking to Al Park the other day, and he laments the fact that it's very hard to get across everything these days. Whereas when we were growing up, there was only so much available, and if you were dedicated enough, you could pretty much know what was going on.
Yeah, I will agree with that. Like, it's the hard thing as well. Say putting music on Spotify or iTunes, etc. I read that there's 60,000 new songs a day added to Spotify.
Yeah.
And so it's like, how do you cut through with that? Because, in the 70s, there's no way there would have been 60,000 new songs coming out a day,
no.
Let alone actually making it to radio. And it seems that the more books I read of like the Eagles and Elton John, etc., all the bands that were living in California in the 70s in LA, it's like if you just lived there and played music, you made it.
Yeah.
It seemed they're all neighbors, they're all next
and you all know, and you knew each other.
Yeah, they literally all lived on the same street or up the same canyon road, and it's just amazing. Whereas now it's so different. But I think as good and bad as it is, things like social media have probably brought a lot of that old music back. Like you said, things like TikTok, an old song like Dreams by Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah.
There was a huge trend that happened on there that made that song come back again and end up on the charts again and go right to the top.
That's true.
It's even the same.
I mean, my daughter was listening to She's a Rainbow. And, so anyway, look, what happens next? You're telling me you're going on tour with Jaden?
Yep.
But I didn't hear you say you were coming to Auckland.
So we are going to do the South Island first and see how it goes. If ticket sales are good and we, have a good time on the road and that, then we'll start looking at when we can book the North Island.
Yeah.
Because there's been a lot of interest in the tour in the North Island, but it's one of those things that I'm not super familiar with. Like a lot of the venues, South Island wise, I had kind of a good idea about if I could book them or not, or I knew of venues. Whereas up north, I've only played so many places up there and I don't really know much about it. So I need to do a bit more research and see where this kind of music would work well, No,
well, whenever you feel the urge to come up here, give me a call, because I did see today night that you're doing something on the Brad Paisley Day. Is that true?
I was supposed to be. So what happened here is that show's actually been cancelled. Not the Brad Paisley one, of course, but like our little opener show. Right. I don't know what happened there. But that whole thing's been cancelled, unfortunately, because that would have been a good chance just to
been a good intro
the album some more as well and do that. So yeah, that's unfortunately not happening now. But I really do want to come up to Auckland, especially because I have played there before with Keith Pereira.
Yep.
We had a show. Him. Yeah, we had a show there. I think it was at Anthology.
He opened a show for Jackie Bristow a little while ago.
Yeah. And I saw he just won something at the I think it was an up and coming award or something at the Variety Artists Club Awards.
Okay.
He just won that literally like last night or the night before. So he's still doing good things up there, and I'd love to do maybe tie in a show with him up there.
Yeah.
But there's still places all around the North Island that I know country music still does really well at.
Yeah.
So I need to look into it.
And then Australia, and then Nashville with the band, and you'll be feeling
the world.
You'll be feeling like, and then recording your next album in Fame Studios. So let's just put that on. That's the wish list, right?
Well, to be fair, that one's actually probably not too far away with Jay being there, because
Cool. Yeah.
he's going to try and split his time between Nashville and Alabama. He's even looking at
Muscle
getting a
Shoals.
place down at Muscle Shoals. Yeah.
There's a lady from Invercargill lives in Muscle Shoals.
Is there?
Lynn. I've got her albums.
That's crazy.
I'll talk to you offline about that. Can't quite think of it. Lynn Henderson, I think her name is. No. Anyway, I'll come back to you.
That's all right. But
look, mate. This is our time's just about up for this. I just wish you luck with the album, and everybody that's watching this, go out and make sure, if you haven't heard Arun O'Connor's new album, Songs from the Reading Room, go and listen to it. Look, there's been a bunch of nice, new, fantastic albums that have come out this year that have been produced in Nashville and have that big Nashville sound to them. And here's another one, and we were enriched by it. So good luck, mate, and hopefully that all those streams will go ka-chinga before too long. And
it'll take a few more, but yeah, I'm hoping.
We'll see you up here in Auckland.
Good as gold.
Okay, good as gold.